Carl Rubino is my name. I live in Wilmington. I've been in the Adirondacks since the early 80s. And I do fine art photography. My interest in creativity probably started when I was about 5 years old. I lived in New York, and my mom sat me on the couch in the living room and she put some classical music on. I don't remember if it was a TV station or a record that she chose, but it was something symphonic. And she said, if you close your eyes, you can see the music. And I did, and I did. And so very literally, that would apply to music. But figuratively, it meant to me that in the world of art, you don't necessarily have to reproduce what's right in front of you. It doesn't have to be literal. It's open to your interpretation. So I do that in art. I use the camera as a tool to try to portray how I see my subject. I tend not to work in the literal. In other words, I'm not the guy who takes the beautiful landscape shot of the distant mountain and field. There are others who do that beautifully. I prefer, even when working in something that is somewhat literal, to give it my interpretation. For example, in this pond shot, this is actually a shot with a telephoto lens, a long lens, taken in a pond, and these squiggles in the reflected trees are created by the wake of a swimming beaver who's swimming closer to my camera and out of the picture frame. So the wake from the swimming beaver bounces off the opposite shore, heads back towards me, and when it intersects with the incoming wakes, it makes these ripples. So again, that's my little view of what that ripple looked like. I look for things either that I can transform into some abstract impression or feeling of what I see, or things that, as they present themselves, can be found to be a little bit unusual. For example, this row of images along the top, with the exception of that one on the left, are all taken of peeling paint on the hulls of sailboats in winter storage. The winter weather gets in there, it gets behind the paint, it lifts things, the paint runs and the like, and so I come in really tight, close up with a camera, and I find these little abstract patterns on the hulls of the sailboats. There's no photoshopping going on here. What I saw is what you see. I also do a lot of photographs which involve multiple exposure in the camera. None of those are here. Two series of those. One shot standing on a park bench in Times Square, shooting the crowd as it passes by, shooting repeatedly so that I merge several shots, 4 to 8, in the camera into one final image. I've done a series of those, and they were chosen by Black and White magazine as a spotlight winner in their portfolio contest, so I'll have a issue in that magazine which will feature that work next year. So that's kind of what my photography is about, and I'm really happy to have it here in Lake Placid. I for years thought you can't sell art in Lake Placid, and I am very happy to see that I am very wrong, because this LPCA Main Street Gallery is doing a phenomenal job of selling all kinds of art, from inexpensive postcards to paintings selling at thousands of dollars. It is, to me, making Lake Placid a place that can be known for art in addition to sports, winter activities, Ironman, horse show. It can now be known as an art center. There's some phenomenal work in here. I guess that's kind of what my photography is about. It's what I see. Often when I get to a scene, I don't start shooting right away. I keep the camera in the bag, and I focus on what it was that brought me to that scene, that attracted me initially, and I try to focus on all the sensory input, sound, smell, taste, whatever it may be, and then if it's a landscape shot, impart that in the photo somehow, almost in a meditative sort of sense. So I guess that's my story.